We're going to turn our gaze upon Boston's other legendary team that's in the midst of a stunning playoff run, the Boston Celtics. Sports writers said they weren't supposed to get this far, especially missing their two best players. But the Celtics are just 2 wins away from another NBA Finals appearance. And they're doing it while beating LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Joining me now, one of the chief architects of this amazing run, Rich Gotham, president of the Boston Celtics. Welcome to Bloomberg Technology, Rich.
Thank you for having me, and I like your office.
Thank you. It suits us for the day. What a stunning run. You're going to LeBron's home turf. You're going to Cleveland Cavaliers' home turf. How do you feel about it on Saturday?
I feel good about it. I mean, our team is playing really well now, continue to defy expectations.
Yeah.
We've got to be expecting Cleveland's best. They're not going to go down without a real fight. So we expect to have 2 really difficult games out there. I'd love to get both, obviously. If we get one of them, I'll feel pretty good about that. So we go in feeling good, though. Our team's on a nice roll. We're playing really well with a lot of confidence. And so I feel good about our chances.
What's behind that confidence? What's behind this perfect mix that you've got going?
You know, I think it's a lot of things coming together. I think this team has had a special vibe and a special culture all year long. They're really resilient. I think the coach instills a lot of belief in them. He puts them in position to bring out the best in each of the individual guys. But I also think we've got a lot of talent on this team, and I think a couple guys had to get hurt in order to see all that talent surface. But players like Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, young guys who are really getting their first chance to show what they can do on the big stage, have really grown into those roles. Al Horford has been a great player in the league for a while, has been a great leader on the team. So I think it's a lot of things coming together at once.
When you are missing 2 of your top players, how does that affect the franchise? How does it affect business?
Well, it really hasn't affected business this year. I mean, we've been on quite a roll without him, fortunately. But, the NBA is a star-driven league. Kyrie Irving, in particular, one of the biggest global names in our sport. But the Celtics are a great brand. We're one of the truly global sport brands. And I think we've got a little bit of a recession-proof quality to us because we've got such a large, global, loyal following. So the team doesn't tend to go up and down as much, or the business performance doesn't tend to twist in the wind with the win-loss record or player injuries. We've been doing this for a while, and I think it's been a pretty steady state, and this year it's just been nothing but growth.
It's about stoking loyalty and keeping the fans engaged, and the NBA is on a roll in terms of 1 billion viewers internationally. How do you harness that? How do you use technology, for example, to be able to engage with an enormous fan base?
Right, we're riding some great trends with the NBA right now. It's a global sport that's got great appeal with young people, digitally savvy people. No barrier to entry to the game, can be played by both genders, nonviolent sport. I mean, a lot of trends going in our favor, but probably the biggest trend is the explosion of digital content globally, which allows us to engage with fans anywhere and everywhere. It used to be you followed your team in your city, in your state, maybe in your region. Now we've got fans all over the world. We've got more Facebook followers in the Philippines than we do in the greater Boston area. So, not to mention 400 million NBA fans in China. We get 20 million video views a month from content that the Boston Celtics produce here in Boston and push out through all our channels globally. So that, more than anything, has really fueled, I think, the growth of the NBA. Our players are really savvy in terms of using that digital technology and social media.
They're young themselves.
To brand themselves. And yeah, exactly. They're natives, right? They're the first generation of digital natives. And so that's really helped grow the game as well, and the global fan base. And all that is feeding, the bigger macro trend, the value of these NBA teams these days, television ratings going up, and not only television ratings going up, but streaming going up without detracting from television ratings. So it's really been a great story. And we're even reaching that really hard to get 18 to 34 group. The young people who tend to be distracted by technology, or so you think. Television ratings have even grown with that group for the NBA.
One way that people might be using their phones going forward is to making the odd bet. I know that's what's happening in the UK, where it's legal to bet on sports, and it might become legal very soon in a state near you. How will that affect the game?
That remains to be seen. I think people are already, betting today and wagering on games today. It's just happening, in the shadows, so to speak. So I'm not sure how much it changes things when and if it comes to light. I think, at the Celtics, We don't really have a fully formed point of view at this stage. I think we're taking our cue from the NBA, who's been, looking at this issue for a long time, and believes that there should be, a certain amount of federal regulation and state regulation. Excuse me?
A cut to the sport? Should you get some money from the betting?
I think that remains to be seen. I haven't given much thought to the trickle-down economics of that. I think where we are right now in our season is we're playing these really big games, and this is coming up at a time where we don't have much time to focus on anything but the next game.
Focusing on the next game, it's all about training, it's about practice. Talk to us about not only TD Garden Arena, but also the practice arena. This is where you're really making sure that technology is in the forefront as well.
Right, we are. We're embarking upon a brand new practice facility. It's going to open in June with our partners at New Balance. And the idea is to have the most state-of-the-art athlete performance center in our league. So we're building this out to accomplish that goal and hopefully give us a competitive advantage. It's all about getting athletes to their peak performance. And strength and conditioning, rest and recovery, nutrition, and first and foremost probably injury prevention, which is an interesting area to apply technology because you really need a lot of data and be able to crunch a lot of very big data. We're partnering with GE, who's also got the badge on our jersey, on a project to try to understand how we might better predict when player injury might occur and therefore how we might be able to prevent it.
I mean, we're going to be speaking to Whoop in a bit, which is all about helping players track their own data. Right. What about the data of the players? Are they looking to harness that to monetize it in any way? How is their business in that too?
That's all subject to, player consent, player privacy. Those kind of things tend to be collectively bargained between the league and the players. So from a team perspective, we haven't really thought about what to do with that player information other than to help them to stay healthy and be at peak performance. But you can imagine with that kind of data, there's a lot of implications and a lot of different ways for fans to engage with the game. If you want to see how fast the guy's running during the game, we can give you that information. How many miles did they run during a game? What was their heartbeat? All this stuff, isn't stuff that we let out to fans, but you could envision someday that might be very interesting to people.
And give us a sense for Saturday. What one thing should we be looking out for? What one element will you be keeping a keen eye on as a man who knows the business, who knows the team?
I think, as in the second game, we've got to be ready for them to come out with, and throw haymakers at us, ready for them to come out and give us everything they have. And if we can hang close early in the game, I'll feel good. I think we'll have a shot to beat them. That's what I will look for going into that game, and that should be a good early indicator for how it's going to go.